that as well. And we don't have to grow giant sugarcane fields to make cakes anymore. It was a competition week this week. Everybody was making food parcels. Well, some people were making food parcels. I think some other people were making fabric boxes still, maybe some wine tossed in for a couple people. The food parcels were the first craft of the boxing facility. That was a new building we got this week. Pretty excited to see what comes out of that boxing facility next. We also announced some free NFTs for playing in the month of September. The Common Pumpkin Storage. It's going to hold 10 pumpkins. That'll be for anybody who plays 10 days and makes 25 sales total at least over the course of the month, I believe is what we said. I'm not looking at it right now, just pulling it from memory, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And there will also be an uncommon pumpkin storage for anybody who has a Townstar node and runs that for 10 days for the minimum of 6 hours a day. There was a question about people, if they had more than one Townstar node, if they will get more than one uncommon pumpkin storage. And to the best of my knowledge, I believe that answer is yes. I don't know if anyone knows anything different than me, but I'm pretty sure that if you have more than one Townstar node, you will get more than one uncommon pumpkin storage.
Yeah, that's as I understand it as well, per node.
Awesome. That's what I thought too. The only other thing that happened this week was the cache bug is still ongoing. We are definitely working our hardest to get that resolved. I am very sorry that it's happening to so many people, and I know that it's frustrating. And I promise you, we will get it fixed as soon as we can. I don't know if Volcron has anything he can say about that. I think he's been working on it.
Yeah. It's basically a little over-aggressive ledger of truth code and combined with some async issues. But there's a fix that we're reviewing right now. So it's looking good.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Nice to have you on the team and working on it. Hopefully we can get it resolved. That was about it for what happened this week.
Actually, maybe let's have Resource just kind of share a little bit about the Townstar Live team and what happens. Everybody remember Resource is the person leading the production on the team, getting the releases built. So maybe you can share a little bit about what's happening there, Resource.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Let's see, the build that we're working on presently is currently in a QA right now, being tested. We are looking good, set for Monday to release to you. We've got we're going to be working with or selling paved roads, which is going to be really fun. Yeah, that's pretty much what we've got going on. We're busting our tail to get it out there for you.
It's awesome. I do know you guys are working sometimes some late hours, just trying to make sure you can do the best you can to get the new work in, fix some bugs, handle this bug, the cache bug. So thanks for doing that.
We're definitely working some pretty extraordinary hours to make sure that we're working hard for you guys and getting stuff out there.
That's cool. What's up next, Michelle?
I thought we'd take a moment here to go through a summary of all of the exciting stuff that we've done over the past 2 months. I don't know if Resource has a nice, good summary for us.
Absolutely. We've done several bug fixes, as you guys might imagine. There's been new features like the quick buy button and rivers being added to the map. We've got 8 new crafts we've added over the last couple of months. Jam, honey, wax, clay pots, sangria, that kind of stuff. We've got 7 new buildings and 10 NFTs. You can believe it, such as the wool storage, the flower station, beacon of light, which was pretty recent here. So we've been busy, very, very busy.
That's a lot of stuff. I'm looking at that list. It's kind of impressive. And Michelle and Mal, you guys were here before a bunch of us joined into the project. How does it seem to you? Does it seem like a lot of stuff is getting in? Does it seem the same as before? I'm just curious about your historical perspective.
Oh, yeah, I was typing. I mean, I'm loving it. I can't explain how happy it makes me. Just the like we just touched on the crafts. There's 8 of them. It's quite a lot. The new buildings as well, 7 new buildings. Like, I don't know, as someone who loves the game and someone who has been around for a while, it's nice to just see so much content just being constantly added, even if it's maybe a small piece of content, or maybe it's a big piece of content, or maybe it's a quality of life addition. It's all just amazing to see going in, and it makes me really happy as a player, especially. But it's great to be on the team and see everyone rallying around, working so hard, long hours. It's it's great.
I do
I
remember
totally
some
agree.
comments. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just from a player perspective, I do love to play Townstar. I play it all the time, probably more than I should, but that's all right. I don't think it's possible to play a game more than you should. Let's be honest. But the new crafts and everything have been so much fun to try to balance and to organize. Pretty excited to see what's coming up next as well. It's been fun.
What are you guys? I'm looking at the discussion channel here. You guys have any comments? Are you seeing good stuff coming up too? I see. I don't know, Willow. I don't know that the game was dead, but it's definitely got some new energy and drive going on right now. Super hyped. Yeah. Oh, I just want to call out, sometimes when your head's down and working, you kind of don't notice all the progress that you're doing. So periodically, I like to even call out on any project. Hey, just take a moment. Let's take a beat and look back at how far we've come. And sometimes just looking forward, it's just the goal seems so far away. But when you look back at how far you come, you can see that it's been a lot of changes and a lot of work. So thanks, guys, on Townstar for doing that. Thanks to the community for your support. I know we're trying to be very much walk in the talk, say stuff that we're going to do, and then do it. And I hope that over the last 2 months or so, you've seen that we're really working hard to do that. And appreciate your support in that. And there are some new stuff coming, of course, as we talk about Townstar Forever. We're not going to talk so much today about Townstar Forever, maybe a little bit, but I think we want to save up a little bit more info for our next meeting next week.
Thanks to you as well, SageMaker. You came in and did, you helped every way you could, and you've got us definitely on a nice path. So I think everyone has a big thanks to you as well.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Smooji, yes, is alive again for the last few months. Yeah, it is.
Did we want to jump into questions, or did we want to have Volcron say anything about the progress of Townstar Forever? Or are we just going to jump right into questions?
Let's save Townstar Forever till next week. I think there'll be a little bit more cool stuff to talk about.
Sounds good.
But yeah, let's jump into questions. But before we do that, any other comments in the community? Gatsu, haven't we lost players? Yeah, we did lose some players, but we've been watching that. It's been incredibly stable for the last month and a half or so, and that's good. We're looking at the health of things, and our PMs are always tracking that. We report on it every single week. But the idea is really trying to keep things stable, keep the community new features and new items released into the community, and at the same time build the next version, which of course is Townstar Forever. Okay, let's go into the questions, Michelle.
All right, question number 1. Can you explain Townstar Live and Townstar Forever in more detail? Is Townstar Live the competition server on the current platform? Will this remain permanently, or will it eventually be converted to Godot?
Got it. Think about it like Townstar Forever is, if you want to call it Townstar Live 2.0. It will encapsulate the competition modes that you see in Townstar Live right now and persistent mode. if you want to call it that. So we will be transitioning from Townstar Live into Townstar Forever, pulling over NFTs. Your town coins still be working the same, but we will then sunset Townstar Live. But I want to be very careful about that. Townstar Forever is the path forward. So when I say sunset Townstar Live, that means turning off the play canvas code, because we'll have it all working in Townstar Forever. So it's a pretty complex move. But one of the reasons we're taking extra time and being extra careful about it is because we want to have it be an update and an upgrade for everybody, a better, funner, longer play experience, more interactive play experience. Also, one that includes more of the persistent town building and the fun that you can have with that, but also keeps the competition mode that everybody loves so much, and add new competition modes and add new features. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming. Hopefully that. There you go, Willow. Evolution and replacement, rebirth. Yeah, we really the key driver. Just so keep context for everybody again. So we want to move away from the client authoritative platform for Townstar Live on top of Play Canvas and move to a server authoritative platform with Godot. This will really dramatically help with the cheating problem. Because right now with Townstar Live, if you're savvy enough, you can go and edit the code on your client and tell the server what you think it should be, and the server says okay. We have Ledger of Truth in there to help protect against that. But I would rather have our team spend time on developing new features than having to fight against cheaters all the time. So hopefully that explains it. If you have more questions, pop it up in discussion chat and we can cover them. So yeah, just to be clear, when we go from Townstar Live to Townstar Forever, we will be stopping the Play Canvas version and have everybody move over to the Godot version of Townstar Forever. Okay, what's the next question?
Next question is, how will Townstar differentiate itself from the other online town builder games?
This is going to sound bold, but and then I'll explain why it's not as bold as it might sound like. I will guarantee you that we will have unique features that either no other game has thought about or no other game has put together in the same combination of way that we're going to do that. And you're like, wow, that's a pretty bold claim. It's not actually bold. It comes from working a long time in the game industry. And what I know is you can start two teams with exactly the same idea and exactly the same brief. In this case, build an online town builder game. The personality of the teams and the way that the experience of the teams and how they think will set the ultimate path for how that game's developed. So I know that with my experience, the experience of the team on Townstar Live, the new people that we have joining the team from AAA world and outside of the gaming world, we're going to have a very unique mix, a very unique personality that I guarantee is going to be unlike any other team in the industry. I just know that because I've seen enough teams. So yeah, I haven't looked at all the other games to do a one-by-one comparison, but you can look at kind of just look at the history of the games that I've worked on and where Townstar is, and you can see that we're going to have some cool stuff. I don't want to share the new features. We'll roll those out as we get them in the game, just our classic style of how we're working now in Townstar. What's next?
Next question I have here is, will Geary have a big impact on Townstar?
Oh, booyah, yes. And so one of the things I had the chance to talk with the person leading the Geary team right now. As we convert to using Geary as the basis for NFTs and for the basis of kind of our for Townstar going forward, lots of stuff's going to happen. And this is we got to take in context of the merge that's happening. I think starting this weekend with Ethereum, and there everybody expects gas prices to go down, but on Geary we're going to be able to do have a lot more flexibility on how we can use NFTs, how you can trade and sell them with other players without having to go out to the ETH network. If they, depending on what happens with the merge on the Ethereum chain, I'm pretty sure our gas prices are going to be dramatically lower. We're also going to be able to do some things, for everybody who has coin in their treasure chests. The last word I heard is that we'll be able to use those coin directly in game without having to go outside and mint them. Just take that as I believe that's true, and we're gonna move forward as if that's true. But if something changes, of course, we'll share with people about it. So yes, I'm really excited because having our own chain and the devs with us inside the same company will allow us to really do some cool things and maybe add some new cool features that would not be as easy or not even possible in Ethereum. If you can tell, I'm super excited about that. It's one of the things that's most exciting about making this move to Townstar Forever for me, because as a game designer, that also gives us more options.
Awesome. I got some exciting times ahead. I'm super excited for Geary to work its way out and see how that all goes. The next question I have here is, will our fungible tokens become real non-fungible tokens on Townstar Forever?
Interesting. So just so everybody knows, fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, I'll just give a quick 2-sentence primer there. The industry often calls fungible tokens, or tokens that are the same that everybody has, as they call them NFTs. And so there's technically a pretty big difference where if you have an NFT, that means it's unique, it's the only one with those attributes. You can't mistake it for something else. And you guys all know what that looks like with Bored Apes. They all have the numbers on it, and they're all different and unique, and you have Mutant Apes and all these other ones. But when you kind of look at some of the buildings that we sold in the game, you're like, well, mine looks just like another person. So technically, they are fungible tokens, meaning you can't swap them out. It'll be exactly the same. Now, the question is when we go for Townstar Forever, are we going to take all of these fungible ones and turn them into NFTs? I don't know if that's necessary. There is theories on, and I don't know if we mentioned it, but some design thinking about what if you have a building and we allow you to update it or customize it, and then at that point it would kind of make sense to turn it into an NFT. But I don't know if that's necessary. So what you can count on, though, is that we'll look at it, and if something makes sense, we got some cool ideas of making, I don't know, one of your storage units or something like that, or even like the beacon of light that we sold last week, for paved roads. If we think those would benefit from being unique one-of-ones of themselves, sure, maybe we'll do that. But just we'll do it in a smart way. I know that's a long answer for saying we're figuring out, but the key thing is to take away is that it might not be necessary.
I totally agree. It sounds like a legitimate plan.
Yeah, there is one thing that I will say. We talked about this last week, and I shared some in Discord, and hopefully somebody pinned the note that I sent. We are looking at the migration process from the NFTs you have right now, we call them Townstar Live NFTs, to Townstar Forever NFTs, or FTs, if you will. And part of that idea there is, as we move into Townstar Forever, we can imagine a larger design space, more ways to use the buildings and the objects that you already own. And so we'll want to do a migration. And it'll be an optional migration, but so that the NFTs can have more features. I'm going to put features in quotes there. We've got some ideas. We'll be able to talk about it very soon on, some of the unique things that we're thinking about, differences we're thinking about for Townstar Forever. But if you have questions, just make sure you pop it in discussion, and we'll try to answer them. What's next?
The next question I have here is, will the earning for the Townstar native NFTs be the same after moving them to Townstar Forever?
Yeah, this one keeps coming up, and I'll keep answering it because I know it's a big concern for everybody. What we're going to do with every single NFTs, native NFTs, Vox NFTs, everything in Townstar Live, is look at them and evaluate them on how they affect the health of the economy, the health of the gameplay, and then move them over in, in wholesale, but maybe make some modifications to them where we think we can make some improvements or make them better, or, make the game more balanced. It's an opportunity for us to really get fresh eyes on this and figure out what's best for the game and the community. And we're going to do that. So I know everybody's very, very concerned. The question keeps coming up. Rest assured, we hear you on that concern, and we're going to do our best to make sure things work out the best that we can with the health of the game and good gameplay for people.
And the next question I have is, will we wait for Gala Chain to restart the town distribution?
Yeah, this is another question that keeps coming up too. If you remember way back to when we turned off the emission for Towncoin, because we talked about how the economy was kind of in a really tough spot, and we were just causing ourselves more pain. We needed to take a pause, and some of the criteria we talked about were, understand what the new economy needs to be. Also, get to a place with a Godot version where we can feel confident and know what's happening. We're still in the middle of that process. I can say, it's looking more and more likely, though, that we will want to wait till we have the Godot version to turn that on, because Townstar Live is just not really set up right for the economy to be healthy. And we want to make sure. Why do we want the economy to be healthy? Well, gameplay, of course, and because it really affects all of our players. And we're going for the bigger long-term win than just kind of turning it on and keep running what's turned out to be a broken machine. We'll still keep adding gameplays and meta changes and stuff that Mal has been doing and the team's been adding. But yeah. Oh, somebody put the questions about Jiri, not Godot. Jiri and Godot are synonymous in my mind. Godot will run on Jiri, and Jiri will be done by the time Godot is done. We have Spider Tanks that's going to launch on it before us, I think.
Well, hopefully that cleared that question up. I know we get that question a lot, so.
Yeah. Keep asking, guys. I know it's a concern, and we just want to make sure we're as transparent as we can be and share with everybody what's on our minds. And then again, walk the talk. Right? Any other questions, Michelle?
Yeah, the next couple questions I have are design questions. I don't know what kind of answers we might have for them or not, but we're going to jump into them anyway. The first one is, what are your plans to add quests, objectives, achievements, badges, Hall of Fame, etc.?
Yes, plans. We've talked about this, about achievements and mastery. I think we talked about that last week. I'm gonna put a careful little bit of wrapper around quests and objectives, and it comes from my experience of having built games like this before. There's a very easy thing we can do as game makers where we can just put a quest log on the side of your screen, and then we can say, just do these things. And that's pretty fun. That could be fun. And it kind of gives you something to do when you show up. You're like, oh, grow some tomatoes today, or, oh, go harvest this, or build a new building. We can use that as a tool to help progress players through the gameplay, gameplay experience, up the tech trees, as we kind of sometimes call it, in terms of building the new building so you can unlock new features. But one of the things that I like to do in terms of building games is to make sure that there's still time for you to play the game the way you want to play it. If you want to play the quest and you're like, yes, I'd like to follow on the storyline, if maybe some new character comes to town, that's cool. But I also like the idea of, toys in a sandbox. This is your sandbox. Build it, shape it how you want, bring the toys into it that you want. So yeah, that's the thinking on those things. But definitely, and badges, yes, this comes with mastery and achievement. Hall of Fame, that's interesting. That's something that hadn't percolated up, but I could see us adding that, probably as a secondary priority to quests and achievements and mastery and things.
I do love collecting badges in games. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Collecting them and showing them off, right? Showing them off is fun too.
It's all about
you know what? Let me touch on that for a second, because one of the conversations we had recently about design for Townstar Forever is persistent mode and the competition mode. And we can easily see what competitions are like because we currently have that at Townstar Live. But one of the things that happens in games that don't have like a full-on heavy duty competition mode is that there's still little competitions that happen. And let's just call it what I call persistent mode. That competition is, collecting badges, finishing collections of objects, like you said there, Mal, bragging rights, right? And so just want to call that out because that's one of the things that came up in a design meeting this week. So yes, there'll be those kind of things inside the game, even if it's not in competition mode. What's next?
The next question I have is there any plan on putting in-game cell logs in Townstar Forever?
Yeah, maybe it can help define if whoever wrote that question or Michelle Mal define kind of what you think that means.
I think there's probably a couple of different ways to do cell logs. I know people
Yeah.
use their production monitor scripts now to see like how many of each good they're producing an hour and
Right.
stuff. I'm sure that they would also appreciate if like when the game is running in the background, for example, if they
Yeah.
could come back in and see, oh, this is what sold while I was away, just so they can
Right.
see what happened while they were gone. I would imagine that's what the question is. I don't know if anyone in chat has any ideas.
As well as maybe being able to like track your weekly rates, how much you've grown in a week, sold in a
Okay.
week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kel
just
has
various
something.
stats, I assume.
Say that again.
I was just saying, I think it's just various stats around selling. So different types of information is useful depending on whether it's a competition and you're checking logs to see why you didn't get as many points or
Got
if
it.
something was choking up. There's a useful reasons for it, definitely.
Got it. Somebody says, like it was when TS was a young pup, or we need cell logs per building placed. So it looks like it's really about progress monitoring and and what Mal says. Okay, yeah. So obviously that'll be part of the simulation. We talked about having progress monitors or production monitors or something like in the past. We'll do that. The question is, in my mind, is not whether to do that, but how do we get it? How do we do it in a way that feels cool and it's not just like some spreadsheet or something that you just like to have a little twist on it. Cool. And then of course, where it fits in our production list of priorities. We have an ever-growing list of things that we're doing, so we'll just have to make sure that we schedule that and get that in addition to all the other fun stuff that we're talking about. What else? Can you tell us about upgradable NFTs in Townstar? Sorry, I'm reading your questions ahead of you, Michelle.
Yeah, that was my next question. Thanks for stealing my thunder.
So we did talk about upgradable NFTs in Townstar Forever a bit before, just a few minutes ago. But I'll just focus just another little moment on that. You guys can, what I like to think about this is creating larger design spaces, right? And if you have an NFT in the game, maybe like a storage building or something that you bought, it's pretty much just, it's got its stats, right? And you can get more storage by adding another one, right? But what if we opened up the design space by saying, hey, you know what? Rather than having to buy another one, what if you can somehow spend some coin or do some special upgrade token or something, increase the size of that storage space that you currently have, right? And I like to kind of call this, instead of building out wide by adding more storage units, maybe you can build vertically by adding more space in your current storage units. And the fun part about this to me is that it opens, when you then look at everything that you have on the game board, you can start imagining even cooler upgrades rather than just giving you more storage space, right? I don't want to go into the ideas we have on those yet until we nail them down. But the way I like to look at it is when you start thinking about it that way, like upgrades and new features that come from upgrading your storage unit and that kind of thing, or whatever NFT you have, it really opens up the design space for a lot of fun, a lot more things to do. What's next?
The next question I have is, can you talk about how you see Townstar Forever being different to the current game?
Yeah, we kind of covered that. I'll cover it again real quick. We were going to do a visual evolution we're still going to do that, but I kind of deprioritize that. So right now the visuals are going to be the same. We're going to have new HUD elements, new UI elements, and everything because especially as we move onto chain, onto Jiri, and we have different types of access to your NFTs, and those we're going to need some new interface elements on that. But for the starting point, we're going to leave the art the same, just to kind of simplify production. The game, as we talked about, there's persistent mode, so you'll have a town that lives as long as you play. You can evolve it, and you've talked about new biomes and new objects and new gameplay that can happen on that persistent town. But then also we're gonna have competition mode, if you will, and maybe even different competition modes. So really, think of it like an evolution, an upgrade, a encapsulation of the fun from Townstar Live, plus an evolution to even more fun and different types of fun outside.
Well, that was really all I had for design questions.
Okay. Any questions on Discord we want to cover before we jump into the rest of the agenda? I don't want to steal your thunder there. Oh wow, there it is. People are asking for it. People want leaks.
Sounds like it's time for Mal's leak minute.
Yeah. Well, maybe let's just jump onto that because.
Yeah. So I wanted to have a chat with them this week. It's a bit of a leak because it's kind of what's come on board. It's around LamRush, and I know the sentiment around it. So I just wanted to have a little talk around it. As a player, I kind of adapted to LamRush, but it was obvious that was never ideal for a large audience, and it is getting to that point now where, it is, if you've got a job, certain time zones, if it doesn't favour you, it's not fun, and then you've got the distance from cities, and LamRush definitely is going to be tweaked in the future game, but right now we've got what we've got, and we can't, go as crazy as we'd like to with code because, well, we all know what would happen and how things are. So I've been thinking about how can we stop some of the pain and kind of disheartened feeling around LamRush. Can't obviously just fix it right now. So one of the things that I want to get done is around mountains is one of them. You do a method that requires steel or iron and stuff like that, you then force every engaging player to need a mountain. And those are limited in good spots, especially, and then it gets crazy. It's so far away, and that really isn't fun. And especially if you have a large player base, it's just I don't like that part. That's the bit that really gets me. Where it's like you are now forced. Now, what I do enjoy is that your choice does make a bit of a difference, but I don't like it being game over if you're not happy with it. So the idea is we get. I've calling it for now a shallow mine. It's the same as a normal mine in the store. Requires a paved road on the edge. It just doesn't need a mountain, and it just doesn't produce as quickly. So it'd be, let's say, 60 seconds in this one. Maybe a minute and a half, depending, because you have the advantage of put way more mines around or whatever else. But the goal is that you are not forced to have a mountain. So if you don't get a good mountain spot, then you can still have mines placed down in the chromium, limestone, and iron because you do need them, especially as these metas get more and more complicated. So yeah, that's it on the. So calling it shallow mine for now. It's obviously the idea. I'd like it to be an NFT as well, but for now it's in game just because everyone. I need everyone to be able to actually access all the resources, and I understand that the map is definitely not perfect. So some of the other things that we've been doing anyway is the more rivers, and now we want to put more cities in as well because we want to try and get those nice trade times. And there's so much. I was speaking to Farmer Michelle yesterday. We were looking at I think 5 city places that they'd really open up a lot more spaces on the competition server, especially. So we're looking at the obvious ones like that, and another one's around the ocean. And I know Silica's one of them as well. If you don't get, an ocean tile, if there's salt involved, I know that pain of needing an excessive amount of salt fields. I still want to make an ocean spot. If you really want the best salt rates, you would go for an ocean. But I don't want to be like, oh, you didn't get an ocean where you can't make cakes. because I know that feeling of when too much of your town is going to be salt. So we need to look around the ocean and how just salt and what we can do to sort of maybe half the time. I think it's about 9 minutes if you don't have an ocean, which is kind of crazy when you need even with an ocean maybe 10 spots sometimes. So if we can at least half the time bring it closer to grapes, there you go. Nef's just posted a good example of what happens when you don't have an ocean. And I just think, if we can get more close, like grape time is maybe, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, that really does take a lot of the burden off not having the ocean as well. I'm not changing the windmills for salt. I just want to make that clear now. Going to change how it is in the windmills, no change there, but I'm just looking at the ocean in terms of how having an ocean affects your position for land rush. So again, recap that, the mountains and the oceans, they're the changes I'm thinking. I'm going to be in Discord all weekend as usual, so just please, if you want to just chat about it, you always know you can just ping me, let me know how you're feeling. Yeah, I see the cry face for the brine timers. Yeah, just there's some changes we can make that just really do ease the burden from land rush, and I think if we just make those, they can tie us over until we get to the the new Townstar with a new engine, and we can have these wonderful, Volcron's going to whip us up some great things because he's amazing. So it's going to be great. I'm really excited for the future, but I want to keep everyone, happy and engaged, and I appreciate the. As an idea there, I was thinking of doing something like a really expensive pond that give like the, the salty effect. We've been thinking around some things. I don't want to just destroy the idea of, like if you get a mountain, you still get the quicker times. Whereas if you don't get the mountain, you're still in the game just as much. Same with the ocean brine. Yeah. So just reading your comments. So that's about I've got on that. As I said, the 5 cities as well and rivers where needed. But we're definitely going to be just easing into all these things. I'm hoping by the next competition we've got the shallow mines in and the ocean changes, just because you will need them. And if you don't know why you'll need them, then I suggest that you pay close attention to the boxing facility, because it is almost a map of metas. So yeah, that'll be your next method if you pay close attention. If not, I'll be slowly pointing it out to the people who haven't caught on yet over the weekend. But I think the changes are definitely needed for the new metas especially, but just to really, really open the game up for more people. I don't like seeing people sad because they didn't get a good spot. So I think we can definitely do some things to change that now.
Looks like there's a lot of reactions going on right now in the discussion channel about that, Mal.
Yeah, it's nice changes, I feel anyway. It opens up more of the map and it just makes it, it's I know the feeling of getting in there and being like, oh, all the good spots are taken, and then you've got some half par spots to go for. But then you're looking at like a long trade time, or you lose an ocean, or you lose. It is nice if it's not as you don't need the mountain. You're still in the game, no problem. You got a spot that was still good. So, and the same with the ocean. It's 9 minutes per tile is crazy. Silica, I forgot to mention that. I understand silica's the same as well. So I'm going to look at silica. I'm not too sure on how we'd look at that. Maybe a little shave, maybe a 50%. I don't know yet, but definitely around mines and the brine.
That's cool. Anything else we have on the leaks front? I saw a couple of questions popping up. Maybe we can answer those. And then also maybe we can get a quick social check-in from Atomic, who I see is on stage with us today.
Yeah. So, as I'm sure you guys know, because, well, I joined Gala, we're growing our community on Twitter. And basically, I just want to know, what do you guys want to see us post? Is there something that you think would be really exciting or that you'd love to see on our Twitter that you'd like us to post? So, my DM's always open. Tag me if you ever come up with anything, because we want to know what you guys want.
Yes, excellent. Please do share that. Atomic's working hard on that. We have a great community here in Discord, but there's also other players out there, the rest of the world, that are not necessarily Discord, that we want to be able to share the news with. So any help you guys can give, please do send it. However, through feedback, through notes, DMs, just go ahead and feel free. Let's see. Any other Mal, Michelle? Are you seeing any other questions we need to talk about in the from Discord right now?
Halloween NFT yet. So it's been on my mind. There's definitely Halloween NFTs. I think I spent like the last 2 weeks with Top Boy. They're not oil related. I'll just say that now.
Okay.
Just because I know I've seen people speculating that, so I just kill that one straight away. But I want them to be really fun. There's more than one. The art team's done a great job. Now we just need to find a fun utilities or fun. I don't know. I remember all the Halloweens. When we got the pumpkin pie in, and then the year after it was the the haunteds and stuff. So we definitely want Halloween to be fun. So yeah, I love that character Neff. It's my favourite one. So yeah, it's just we're not fully decided, but it's definitely there's the NFTs. I'd say they're done. So it's just you're waiting on me, everyone. So if everyone wants to just throw ideas at me and chat to me over the weekend, let me know.
Well, that seems cool. Yeah, so get your ideas to Mal, everybody. Bombard him with stuff. What's next, Michelle?
I think the only other thing we have to cover is a sale that's happening on Monday for the paved roads. Unless there's something else we want to talk about before that, but that's all I've got left.
Okay, why don't we cover that, and then we'll see what other questions come up before we wrap.
Yeah, so Monday, I imagine same time as sales normally happen, which I think is 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be selling paved road NFTs. They'll be the same as the paved roads you make in the game, except for you can just place them like any old NFT. They'll work exactly the same as the regular paved roads. We're going to do the first round of sales in a bundle. You get 5 paved road NFTs. That bundle is going to cost $160 in town only. So that'll be about $32 a road. And that's 5 paved roads.
Nearly one.
Eventually, we will be selling individual ones as well, but I don't know when. And I do imagine that the price will be higher for the individual ones when they do come out.
I don't know. The singles should be out fairly soon after, as far as I know. I'm not sure about price change though.
Cool.
Cool. I see a note there from Rostakip. How are you going to handle Godot going live? I wonder. New players will need to be able to drop in. Is there a large publicly planned? I'm thinking test or beta. Maybe left a word out there. Or is it too soon to talk about? Actually, I'll talk about a little bit. We are still working on the full go live plans. But one of the things, as we mentioned very early on, is we're trying to build this Godot version in public. Share what's going on with it, share updates, not keep it locked away inside the company. And you've seen some of that. We'll see some more of that next week. My imagination is some of the plans we kicked around are doing, starting off with internal company playtest across everybody. I know we have a link that Volcron has already set up, so anybody in the company can just check in on the progress anytime. As we go out to players, we're going to have to make sure we harden security. And we're looking at maybe doing just some previews or some sneak peeks of gameplay, letting people get in and touch it and feel it and see that it's real. That'll be probably happening over sometime in the next month, probably at towards the end of quote the next month, within like 3 to 4 weeks. But we're still putting that together. And this is it too early to talk about? Well, technically, yes. A lot of people wouldn't talk about it, but I'm sharing kind of real live plans that we just started putting in place this week. We want to give everybody the option to see what's going on, see that it's real, and check in on the progress. Because I think new blood needs to be getting in. Yes. No public publicity like getting into blockchain newspapers, etc. So I think I'm missing part of the rest of your note there. We'll do when we do the full launch, we'll definitely do a full marketing launch, PR setup, social setup, and everything like that. So we are treating this as a major product for the company. Got it. Any other last questions you guys see? Mal, Michelle, anybody else we should pick up before we end the call?
Just trying to get confirmation from Top Boy, but he's not replying to me message yet. So if we're still in, I'll.
Okay.
And just getting confirmation around price change. I don't think there's a price change. I think it's just, as we said, around 40-ish for these singles, and then the bundle will be, as Farm Michelle just said.
That was my understanding as well, Mel.
Yeah. So nobody, please be coming at us like, oh my god, it was supposed to be higher. No price change. It's bundle and then the singles.
That's good confirmation. Hey, Chief, I see you bumping that question again and again, and no matter how much I try to avoid it, I can't. No, I'm teasing, of course. I love the idea of the Boomba, and yes, we'll get it working. It's one of those. We have a list of, at least we think a list of what's been said before, about the bots and everything and how they're going to work. So yes, and that fits really well with the idea of some of the stuff we're thinking about Townstar Forever. Parts and pieces and upgrades and things like that. So yes, update on ideas we're throwing around internally. First step is making it work, getting it all together and actually having more fun with it. When do we get utility for basketball courts and query flow? We still have to figure that out, Beastie. Tina 444, can we sell an individual after we purchase the bundle? Yeah, they're NFTs, or FTs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're just in a pack, so you can, you don't do like multiple things. You can just buy 5 in one transaction, but they will be individuals that you can, if you want to keep 3 and get rid of 2, that's your choice. Sand King, it's the same as a paved road in game. So you do get the boost, the speed boost, obviously, over a dirt road.
Just to Ciro, is time for competition remains the same? You guys did a survey in August where you asked what time of day would you like to start? Why don't you stick to the time most players voted? Mal, Michelle, do you remember what the results of that survey was? And I can talk about what we're thinking about in the future, but it'd be great to start with what we learned in that survey.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
It's about the times when competitions would start.
Oh yeah, we did that survey right before May Mayhem started to see what everybody wanted, and the current time that it starts now was the winner. I can share those results again. The second most voted time was like 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which was the one that we were originally rotating with the current time that it starts now. But for coding reasons, we decided to just set with the one standard time because it's easier to not have to change it every other week to save dev time for other problems.
Yes, and going forward, Townstar Forever, as we have competition mode and a new code base, we'll be able to have different types of competitions, change them up more easily, experiment a little bit more. So I'm really looking forward to that. So any other?
Say a cell bug.
Yeah.
That one was for Volcron, but he's answered it before, so whoever, I can't even see who the question is now. Lorelli, on the current cell bugs, any progress? Yes, Volcron is handling that. I believe we've got the fix already, or it's close to, something like that, but it's definitely lots of progress.
Rasta Kip, don't be tempting Tom Holland to the Townstar Tom Holland Volcron to share new screens. We'll do that next week. I wanted to do a little bit of a retrospective this week. Cool. So I think it's about time to wrap up. What do you guys think? We answered tons of questions. We've been on for a good period of time here. What do you think, Mal, Michelle? Yeah, that's right, Neff. There he is. What do you guys think?
That's all I've got
good
for
to
this
wrap?
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks everybody for coming. and thanks for all of our Townstar folks for joining in on the stage and sharing everything. I really appreciate you guys stepping in here and helping engage with community. And of course, community, thank you guys so much. We do take everything that you talked about seriously. And, you know, sometimes it's hard for me to keep up, but I know Mal, Michelle, and everybody else are online a lot, and your support does mean a lot to us. So thank you for that. And yes, we're going to keep doing the best we can to make Townstar live and forever the you know, really awesome going forward. So that's all I've got.
Yes, thanks everyone. Always appreciate these AMAs are fun. You know, we get to answer some questions that I know a lot of people have during the week and over the weekends. So it's always nice that they can come and watch a recording of an AMA or at least get them answered here. Because, you know, as much as we are in the chat, we do miss questions. So, you know, as always, if you've got questions, just fire them over and we'll always try and answer what we can.
Yeah, everybody have a great weekend.